Do you like to go on vacation and travel with your family? Maybe you go somewhere like the beach, or maybe you go camping, or maybe a water park. You probably do these things in the spring or the summer. Well, I'm here to tell you about an amazing trip that monarch butterflies take, and they take it every fall. I'm talking about the monarch butterfly migration. Migration is the seasonal movement of animals from one region to another. Monarch butterflies start their migration in northern places like Canada and Virginia, and they migrate all the way down here to Mexico. Now that's an awfully long distance for these monarch butterflies to migrate. But just how long? 100 miles? Well, that would take you an awfully long time to walk that distance. And it's an awfully long distance for monarch butterflies to travel, but it's not even close to how long monarch butterfly migration is. Would you believe 500 miles? Okay, wow, that is a very, very long distance, but still not even close to how long monarch butterflies migrate. Let's see. 1,000 miles. Okay, now we're talking an awfully long trip, but still not even close. Would you believe 2,000 miles? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. That is an awfully long distance for butterflies to travel. But would you believe that the monarch butterfly migration covers up to nearly 3,000 miles? Just imagine butterflies traveling that distance. It is amazing. So you're probably wondering, why do they migrate from northern places like Canada and eastern United States and travel all the way down to Mexico? And what do they do when they get there? Well, they travel because obviously in the fall it starts to get cold in places like Canada and eastern United States and northern North America. They get to a place in Mexico that's only about 60 square miles. We're talking about a lot of butterflies in such a short space. Take a look at what it looks like down in Mexico with these fir trees. They cluster on branches, and yes, those are all butterflies huddled together in one tiny little space. Amazing. Well, why do they do it? Well, even though they're in Mexico, and that is pretty far south, the area that they huddle in central Mexico is high up in the mountains. So it can get pretty cold at night, as low as 32 degrees cold. So they huddle in these branches to stay warm. During the day, when it's a little bit warmer, they come down and they feed on nectar, and they mate, making more butterflies. Summer passes and into the spring. And would you believe it? These butterflies, they migrate back. That's right, they migrate back to where they came, all the way back in northern Canada and eastern United States. That's right, every spring they migrate back from Mexico and just follow the arrows and look to where these monarch butterflies migrate back to. The same trip, the other direction. Now it seems like the same butterflies that started the trip are the same butterflies that finished the trip. Well, remember, this trip takes about 3,000 miles, and the butterflies that started the trip, they only live for about 6 to 8 weeks, and they're not going to be able to make the trip up and back in that short amount of time. So the butterflies that start the trip, they lay eggs and make more butterflies, and those older butterflies, they pass, and the butterfly eggs that hatch turn into caterpillars and butterflies, and those butterflies lay eggs, and those eggs turn into caterpillars, and the caterpillars turn to butterflies, and those butterflies lay eggs, and those eggs turn into caterpillars, and you get the idea. So the butterflies that end the trip are as old as the great-great-grandchildren of the butterflies that finished the trip.
Good.
And the same thing happens in the spring. The butterflies that start the trip are not the same butterflies that end the trip. So, how do those butterflies that get hatched, those caterpillars that turn into butterflies that didn't start the trip, how do they need to keep going? Well, it's just their natural instinct. That's just one of the reasons that makes this trip nearly 3,000 miles in the fall and the spring. It makes the monarch butterflies and their migration amazing.